Here we go. So the Colts pick Anthony Richardson. I was a little worried that maybe we will not be patient with him. However, I think from this video I'm about to post, this proves that they are willing to be a little patient with him and not, basically just throw him under the bus. They know what to expect out of him at this time. And I tell you what, I really was hoping we'd get Witherspoon for the corner. That's not going to happen. Seattle Seahawks picked them. Seattle's going to end up they're going to be dangerous. They're going to end up developing a new sort of look to the Legion of Doom they used to have. I think they're starting to build it back that way. We'll see how Seattle is in the next couple of years. Witherspoon, though, man, he's aggressive. I'm not so sure he is actually Indianapolis sort of attitude or respect or however you want to put it, because Indianapolis has to have they have to kind of spew out good vibe, so to speak. So not that I'm complaining, because I love that, but it's nice just to have men that likes to play football and knows how. So I mean, marrying those two together is kind of rough, but I'm getting off on a tangent. We're going to talk about Anthony Richardson and who I want them to pick in the second round. Let's get through this.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind.
What's up, Coach Nation? It's quarterback Anthony Richardson. I'm ready to come home.
We got a little tense there at 3, but we're excited. We did a lot of work on Anthony. Think he's a good fit for us. Let's don't crown him yet. All right, he's a young player. We like his talent. We like what he can be. And, I don't think Shane can tell you either. But what I can tell you is, we drafted him for what we think he can really be in the future. I mean, anytime before, anytime you're sitting there and you kind of targeted a guy and in front of, that you always worry somebody jumping up and getting him. You always wonder if somebody's laying in the weeds, and good for us, they weren't. He's young, but he's very poised. I think you see it when he plays. One here, middle of May. So he's going to have growing to do, like all of them do. But we'll help him. And we'll bring him along, and he'll be a good player for us. And I think the one thing we're seeing in the league now is guys you can work on and get them more accurate. Just footwork, fundamentals. There's certain things I think we can do, and I think you've seen guys jump in our league, like every player we bring in. But let's don't expect him to be Superman from day one. And
when you have Gardner, doesn't he give you that buffer to where you don't have to just throw the young kid in?
Yeah, I mean, Gardner's a good player. Obviously, we brought him in here for a reason, and obviously we'll see how that whole thing shakes out, you know what I mean? I mean, we got to get Anthony in here and get him started in OTAs and go through training camp and go through that process and see where it goes from there. Definitely helps. I mean, when a guy can run and add that element to your offense, I mean, it's a big plus. It puts stress on defenses, and obviously he has that capability, but I just wouldn't sleep on his throwing ability either. I mean, that ball comes out pretty now. He can spin it. He's got a huge arm, and he's made some huge plays in the pass game. So we're excited to work with him.
I think you know us well enough. We go pretty in depth on knowing who's involved, and and not just to him, to everybody. Former coaches, high school, as far back as you can go. So, look, it all plays into the final decision of what you make. But it also tells you a little bit about things he can handle. I almost said a bad word. All the crap that comes out about these kids, it's crap. Like, it's bullshit. I'm sorry, but it's bullshit. Like, people that leak these stories, these negative stories on kids, I don't agree with it. It's bullshit. These guys work their ass off, to get where they need to be. And then all week you got to read and stories and ask and then they got to answer questions on you. So anyway, now I think y'all know well enough. I mean, like, great. We're excited. We're excited to get Anthony. Now we got to go play. So now you got to go prove it. So I stay pretty damn right I'm excited. But now and then you sober up and say, okay, now we got to go play and make it work.
How do you feel about 4 right now?
Good. I think we'll get the best player in the draft, to be quite honest with you.
So Anthony Richardson, 4th round. We had a little bit of a scare apparently because we had, I can't remember who it was that jumped up to number 3 pick. And they didn't need a quarterback, but the Colts even made a comment that got a little sketchy. With that said, I think it was the Texans that jumped up, and according to Chris Ballard, even though it was the Texans, they weren't looking for a quarterback, and he knew they weren't. Still was a little sketchy. So Witherspoon, man, I wish he picked them in the second round, but listen, he's gone. He's gone. So we need Anthony Richardson needs a good defense, especially as knowing how young he is, and it sounds like they're going to play him this coming up year, and it's going to happen. So maybe not starting from the get-go, and maybe not playing all the time, maybe rotating reps. We'll see how that goes. We need a cornerback. That's what we need. If we get that cornerback, I think we'll be in good shape. And if we don't, I don't know who they're gonna put out there, because after getting rid of Stephon Gilmore, that really puts a gigantic hole right there. There are some tight ends that are still available for the second round that look good. Will Levis, he is actually still out there. He'll be there in the second round, and it really makes me wonder if anybody's going to pick him now. I maybe for a backup. I'm not real sure, but I think he's a lot better than some people say. Not saying he's great, by no means. I personally don't think that any quarterback in this draft can match up to any of the recent quarterbacks that are extremely good now. So even Anthony Richardson is as much of just a beast of a man he is. He doesn't match up the same way. The talent that they have and where they were at their point in time when they were drafted does not match up with any of the draft picks on the board was on the board in the first round. But with that said, I still don't think Will Levis is like a 40th pick either, so, or even higher, which very well may happen because there isn't a whole lot of anybody that needs a quarterback right at the moment. So I do not, what happens with Will Levis, couldn't tell you. Maybe we'll get him as a backup in our bottom end of our draft if he makes it that far down. But enough talking about the crazy. So here we go.
Man, that Joker, he an alien. Come on, man. The ability that's in his body.
What a moment for young Anthony Richardson.
I do think it's untapped.
What a play by Richardson. A ball fake to keep it alive. Are you kidding me?
Something he can do, very few people on earth can do.
Uses that 230-pound frame. You can see the will to win with Anthony
I see
Richardson.
a generational talent, something that may not come along but every 50 years.